Marcus Johnson, a 38-year-old black single father, pulled his aging blue SUV into the driveway of the Grand Monarch Hotel in downtown Chicago. The city's skyline glowed beneath the evening lights as business executives and wealthy tourists stepped through the grand entrance. Marcus had spent the entire day driving from Detroit with his 8-year-old daughter, Maya, after attending a business meeting that had ended later than expected. His clothes were simple, a gray hoodie, faded jeans, and worn sneakers, but his calm confidence never left him. Maya rubbed her sleepy eyes while holding her father's hand, trusting him completely despite the exhausting journey. Inside the magnificent marble lobby, sparkling chandeliers illuminated every corner while soft piano music filled the air. Guests dressed in expensive suits and elegant dresses checked in with smiling receptionists. Marcus patiently waited in line until it was finally his turn. "Good evening. I'd like to check into the presidential suite under Johnson," he said politely. The young receptionist glanced at his appearance before looking back at her computer with a doubtful expression. Without even checking carefully, she sighed and replied, "I'm sorry, sir. We don't have any available rooms tonight." Marcus quietly noticed several guests receiving room keys behind him, but he chose not to argue in front of his daughter. Maya looked up at her father with tired eyes. "Daddy, I'm really sleepy," she whispered softly. Marcus smiled gently and kissed the top of her head. "Don't worry, sweetheart. We'll find a place to rest." Before they could leave, an impatient businessman standing nearby laughed loudly. "People like him should stay in a motel, not a 5-star hotel," he mocked. Several guests turned to watch while the receptionist remained silent. Marcus ignored the insult completely, refusing to let anger replace his dignity. He simply held Maya's hand tighter and thanked the receptionist before walking toward the lobby doors with quiet grace. As Marcus reached the entrance, the hotel manager approached with a forced smile. "Sir, I need to ask you to leave. You're making some of our guests uncomfortable." Marcus looked directly into the manager's eyes without raising his voice. "I'm only trying to rent a room for my daughter," he answered calmly. The manager folded his arms and repeated that the hotel was fully booked. Maya leaned against her father's shoulder, nearly asleep after the long trip. Marcus took a deep breath, glanced around the luxurious lobby one last time, then reached into his pocket and quietly pulled out his phone without saying another word. He stepped outside beneath the bright hotel lights while Maya rested against his shoulder. The cool Chicago breeze moved gently through the quiet night as luxury cars arrived one after another. Marcus dialed a number from memory and waited, only a few seconds before someone answered. His voice remained calm and respectful. "Good evening," he said. "It's Marcus Johnson. I think it's time we visited the Grand Monarch tonight." After ending the call, he looked back at the towering hotel, a faint smile appearing on his face. Within minutes, the distant sound of approaching black SUVs echoed through the silent street. The hotel manager watched Marcus disappear into the night with a satisfied smirk, believing he had protected the hotel's exclusive image. Inside the lobby, guests returned to their conversations while Maya quietly rested against her father's shoulder outside. Less than 5 minutes later, the peaceful evening was interrupted by the arrival of 3 black luxury SUVs that stopped directly in front of the entrance. Uniformed security officers quickly stepped out, followed by several sharply dressed executives carrying leather briefcases. Every employee in the lobby froze as the group walked confidently toward the front desk, asking one simple question. "Where is Mr. Marcus Johnson?" The manager immediately approached, assuming an important celebrity had arrived. "Good evening. How may I assist you?" he asked politely. One executive looked at him with a serious expression. "We're looking for Mr. Marcus Johnson, the majority owner of Monarch Hospitality Group." The manager's smile disappeared instantly. "That can't be right," he whispered nervously. At that exact moment, Marcus walked back through the revolving doors with Maya beside him. Every executive stood respectfully. "Good evening, Mr. Johnson," they said together. The entire lobby fell silent as shocked guests stared at the father they had mocked only minutes earlier. The receptionist's face turned pale as she realized the truth. The businessman who had insulted Marcus slowly lowered his eyes in embarrassment. The regional director stepped forward and handed Marcus several documents. "Sir, we've completed the acquisition exactly as instructed. Ownership officially transferred this afternoon." Marcus nodded calmly before looking around the elegant lobby. His eyes settled on the frightened manager and receptionist. Neither of them could speak. Maya squeezed her father's hand, confused by everyone's sudden respect. Marcus smiled gently at his daughter, before quietly walking toward the same front desk that had rejected him only moments before. Marcus placed his hand on the polished counter and spoke in a calm, steady voice. "I'm not disappointed because you denied me a room," he said. "I'm disappointed because you judged a father by his appearance instead of his character." Tears filled the receptionist's eyes as she apologized repeatedly. The manager admitted his mistake and accepted full responsibility. Marcus remained composed. "No one will lose their job tonight," he continued. "But starting tomorrow, every employee will receive new hospitality training. Every guest deserves respect before judgment." The lobby remained completely silent as every word echoed through the magnificent building. Marcus finally accepted the presidential suite, key that had been impossible to find just minutes earlier. He picked Maya up in his arms, and she smiled sleepily, without understanding the extraordinary moment she had witnessed. Before entering the elevator, Marcus turned toward everyone gathered in the lobby. "Luxury isn't measured by marble floors or expensive chandeliers," he said warmly. "Real luxury is treating every person with dignity, no matter how they look." The employees applauded softly while several guests lowered their heads in shame. As the elevator doors closed, the Grand Monarch Hotel began, a new chapter built on respect instead of prejudice.